Hello, today we continue our quest for solution as our nation grapple with the incidents of violence all over. My name is Ikpe. Welcome to our program, Violence Free World. And I'm privileged today to finally, when I say finally, maybe you should ask me the outsider you know. I have as guest on the program today, the founder of DAAR Communication, High Chief Raymond Dokpesi. Chief, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right. We're going to come right back into this conversation. But first, after this, be here. Don't go away.
We're talking violence.
Welcome back. Chief, now it's time to go straight into the conversation. By the way, you need no further introduction. Raymond Dokpesi means broadcasting, means technology, means engineering, means several things. By the way, happy birthday.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to once again thank all those that supported the effort to celebrate a very minimal contribution to national development.
Did you say minimal, sir?
Minimum.
Well, that's consistent with your humility. Now, Chief, let's discuss other matters. We're going to come right back to that. But first, Nigeria's unity and sovereignty has been challenged on multiple fronts by different persons. Some by making just incendiary remarks, and then others by actually taking to arms. I'm referring to bandits, terrorists, and insurgents. How does this worry you as a patriot?
Well, I must say that I'm shaking to the marrows of my bones. I am totally in confusion about the recent developments in the polity. Nigeria, in my opinion, that I was born into, is a united country. We must do everything within our strength, our contacts, our influence to ensure that this country continues to be united. That a few individuals, for what I believe is their personal gains, they call it self-determination. They call it, but we have not exhausted all the mechanisms available to come to a round table and genuinely and properly resolve the challenges that we have. Even where conferences were set up and solutions were preferred, we had a situation where quite a lot, our leaders or those that were in power refused to allow the implementation of the recommendations that were made. This, amongst others, is the major cause for the banditry, for the demand for the balkanization of the country. And I believe that the moment we are able to all come together, we are able to get an appropriate leader who is positively disposed to the restructuring of the country, to ensuring that there's justice, fairness, and equity. One who is committed to creating jobs, because you see, the violence that you have, the banditry that you have, is also out of lack of employment. So if we are able to get our children properly engaged, they have a hope, they have an opportunity to achieve their ambitions within the ambit of Nigeria, given equal opportunities. That level of demand for the division and balkanization of Nigeria will reduce to the barest minimum.
Okay, we're looking at the conservative practice now, but first let's come back to this impunity that seems to be causing all of this or to be encouraging all of this? A lot of people believe that the killings that are going on probably wouldn't have been as bad as this if this supposed reign of impunity does not prevail. Do you share in that position too? People kill and then nothing happens.
Well, why do people kill? You see, what we always do in this country is to try to treat the symptom, not the main cause. So let us go down to the main cause of the problem. There is injustice. There is unfairness. A section of the country have been unfairly treated. A group of persons within the country have been unduly and unfairly treated. And they believe that every effort to seek attention, to have their issues discussed, people are not coming up. For those that have taken to arms, for those that have decided to balkanize Nigeria, all these separatist movements, Oduduwa Republic, Biafra, I hear there's something in the South as well. Those are out of the pressures, out of a feeling that our people are not getting a fair share in the Federal Republic. The issue of banditry, religious extremism, and the others that we find in mostly the northern parts of Nigeria cannot be compared to those who want to pull out of Nigeria. These were again children of people who were not properly treated over a long period of time. And they have grown into millions now. And there's no hope for them. Whether they were misled, whether they were not, it is an issue of negligence by successive governments. Because it will not be fair and just in as much as I don't agree with a lot of the policies of the present administration. I don't think that they should be wholly held responsible. These are issues over years, and which requires us to come back and sit down properly. The 2014 National Conference was going to give us a way to resolve it in a democratic manner. If it were the earlier years, the 60s, mid-60s, early 70s and 80s, there would have been a military coup. Maybe that would have solved the problem.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because the problem was created by the military, largely or so. A lot of people will say, by fiat. So why are you so hopeful that we can resolve it democratically?
You see, democratically, if we are Democrats, not people who pretend to be Democrats, if we are actually Democrats, then we can sit down and in a civilized manner bring these issues to the table like it has been done in the 2014 National Conference. There were quite a lot of proposals. I understand that the El-Rufai committee also had a look at them from the APC perspective. But obviously, the leadership of APC do not believe in restructuring. And since we cannot go to war, we have to look for a president who is committed to restructuring. And we give him a mandate that within the first 6 months, we want a new constitution. A constitution which will be fair and just to all of us. But to say that we break out of Nigeria, how does that solve the problem?
Who is going to give us a new constitution? Is it the present set of National Assembly members as prevalent or what?
I will be blunt and tell you that I personally do not have faith in this set of members of the National Assembly.
El-Rufai said to that extent, you probably may never have it because you require the approval of the National Assembly for you to go that route.
I am waiting for 2023 for us to have Nigerians who believe in Nigeria, who trust, who want a united Nigeria and not their own personal interests. Nigeria's politics now is covered by personal and tribal or religious interests. We need a leadership that is dedicated, committed to the unity and stability of this country.
Hi, Chief, I see you're counting so much on the political will of a particular president, a particular leader who is able to take on all of these things. They say all of that. I remember Muhammadu Buhari before he became president. There's a whole lot that you ordinarily think he would not have condoned now. But it looks like there's something that happens when people sit there and suddenly they begin to see some things from some other prism in a manner that some of us who are outside of the corridors of power may not be able to understand. Even if it's you, we probably will be saying, well, look at what Raymond Dokpesi said. This is him here. What's going on, sir?
Callys.
Yes, sir.
People have antecedents. I spoke very loudly and clearly about my knowledge and perception of the current president in 2013, 2014. And I drew attention to what happened in 1985 that led to his overthrow as president. I am shocked that quite a lot of the people that were in trenches and who celebrated in 1985 when he was overthrown as president came up with the propaganda and misled the Nigerian populace that now we have is a born again, is a reborn again. A chameleon does not change his skin. So it is very obvious. I came out very clearly and we highlighted it. So I'm not disappointed at his performance. I'm not, I never saw him as somebody committed truly and properly to moving this country forward.
Through federalism.
Through federalism, in making sure that all parts of the country is moved forward. But if that was what majority of the people decided, if they are now crying, I can only tell them that do the correct thing. Do what is right for the good of our people. Don't determine the path of development based on your own personal interests, based on what you believe you will benefit. Let us all make sacrifices for the generations coming after us.
Okay, actually, let's touch again on this issue of insecurity. A lot of people believe that restructuring, which you hinted at earlier, will come with it the solution of state police, the state police measure. Do you also think that that's a workable measure if state police were in place to help us check this spate of violence as we have almost everywhere in the country today?
I supported the state police agenda because in all federal systems, you have various layers of enforcement and security forces. But Nigeria is a poor country. Nigeria, all the states, if you say states creation as state police, these states that are available today who can barely, 80% of the states cannot pay their wages. They cannot sustain it. So we need to carry out fundamental restructuring of the mess that was created by the military in the number of states that have been created.
You have just said something. Let's get it proper. Maybe you should put it in proper perspective so we have no doubt. Not every state will be able to shoulder state police.
Correct. A majority of the states in Nigeria will not be able to fund and support state police. So it will become additional problem. We need that restructuring. We need to bring together a group of states and then create within them. But the 36 states, as we have them
individually to have their state police,
it will not work.
Maybe we should go back to regionalism. 6 regions, And then you have a regional police, not state police.
Exactly. That is what that is my thinking.
Okay, I get that. Now, okay, still on that, constitutionalism, do we require any constitutional provision to cater to the size of our security forces as we have today? Because right now, we're grossly under police, and people will readily cite funding challenge as to why it is so. If you have less than 500,000 policemen to a country of over 200 million people, that's inconceivable. But well, it's going on right here. Why is it so? What are we getting our priorities right at all? What's going on?
Cally, you see, police, administration, they are all consumption. We are not productive. We have not supported the existence of industries, the existence of hospitality outlets. We have not taxed ourselves properly to make that possible. It is still being treated as something political and so on. So, for me, we need, let us take the 2014 document. That is the last we have had. If you like, 6 months, let us review it effectively and let us start implementing it in truth. Otherwise, we are never going to get out of the quagmire we are. Nigeria will break. I am bold to say Nigeria will fully disintegrate because the youth cannot find any employment. There is no space for them. And if we continue to create all these establishments of consumptive bodies and establishments and so on, how do you fund it? Where will you get the money from? Where? Borrow? Continue to borrow? Like they have done now?
Well, they say borrowing is a common thing. It's very normal with even the most advanced nations in the world today are anchored on borrowing largely.
No,
so it's normal with economics.
No. If you borrow to provide infrastructure, for industrialization, to create a future world, that is it. But you don't borrow to pay for your consumption, for salaries and for that. No.
The federal government presently under Muhammadu Buhari primed itself to say, we borrow to provide infrastructure. We are securing your future for tomorrow, unlike other persons in the past who had borrowed money and shared the money. Maybe I'm playing the devil's advocate, but that's what he said.
Well, coincidentally, I want to see what the monies that were borrowed were spent on and what President Shehu Shagari, when he was president, what Obasanjo, when he was president, what their options and methods to that was. We have borrowed quite a lot for railways now. But I can tell you for free of charge that when President Shehu Shagari was president, and prior to that, from the third National Development Plan, it was agreed already that we were going to build a steel complex to enable us provide the metal, the rail on which we are going to put on standard gauge. It was supposed to cover the whole country. But President Shagari said we should not borrow. It was to cost Nigeria. It was 6 tracks into the main cities and 4 tracks to all the villages in the country. It was to cost 30 billion naira. And he said we should implement it over 20 years at 1.5 billion per annum. In 1983, there was a coup. Everybody was called a thief. People were driven out of the country or they were compelled to run out of the country. They went out of the country. Mama Makele, thank God, may his soul rest in peace. Mama Makele, Paul Unongo is alive. People who worked together with other people in Nigeria to ensure that we had a Jakuta steel plant working completely.
So with the benefit of hindsight, would you have rather that we borrowed that money? Because if we're taking it, we've taken it. And what we have done, yes, would you have rather that we did? who took the money?
There was a vision. The vision was that the Ajaokuta complex will produce all the real steel district, will form the basis of our industrialization. That all the trucks that were train trucks that were importing at this point in time, that we would have started producing them. Look at all the policies had a vision. I don't know, this one we are just borrowing, we are borrowing. How many people, how much are they paying? Which year do you want to repay? Even the Abuja, Kaduna leg of it, how much was borrowed? How much is the ticket? How many passengers do you have going that you hope that you are going to repay even the 50th generation after me? But we will have employed Nigerians. We would have created opportunity. Technology will have been transferred. We will have had quite a lot of them. So it is not a matter of going to borrow for the sake of borrowing. It's a matter of the will. At the time when the coup took place in 1983, the Ajaokuta complex was almost 95% complete. Over $10 billion had been spent. I believe it was almost about 500 million that was remaining. And I can tell you from NNPC leakages at that time, you had more than $500 million going out every week. So all we needed to say is for 1 week, let us not steal. Let us just complete this Ajaokuta. But everybody was called a thief. Everybody was called a distant. Nobody was courageous to go anymore. The same situation that has been played over and over to justify change of government, to justify. So there was no consistency. There's no direction. So we need to be able to get back to the drawing board. What significance is building a rail line outside the shores of Nigeria up to Niger Republic at a loan of over 1.6, 1.7 billion dollars? Is that the priority? What about the coastal areas within Nigeria that needed to have been connected? What about Enugu that needed to have been joined? What about, have we completed those ones? Was running a rail line up to Mahari in Niger Republic, was that a priority? But it is borrowed. My children and your children will pay the loan when the time comes.
Well, High Chief, I want to still believe that there is so much of optimism in the inside of you, despite all of this, let's call it nagging problem.
It is a problem of leadership. It's a problem of vision.
Yes.
And that's why I strongly believe that, look, for once, let us shun our ethnic, our religious device, our soft line. Let us leave all those aside. Let us come together as a people. And in the interest of the future children of this country, let us take a decisive position. It has to come with experience, with knowledge, with love for the country, patriotism. It has to come with all the fault lines being set aside. And we will make this country flow with milk and honey. I believe this country can still flow with milk and honey, in spite of the challenges.
Well, I love that you're beginning to sound this optimistic. Well, Chief, there are so many other contentious measures or issues that are coming, but we're going to come back to the conversation and then have those discussions again. This is Violence Free World. I'm here with High Chief Raymond Dokpesi, founder of DAAR Communications PLC. I'll be right back after this time out. Don't go away. Welcome back. This is Violence Free World. Well, I thought I was putting someone on the hot seat, and it seemed like I'm the one on the hot seat now. Interesting. High Chief Raymond Dokpesi is putting me on the spot rather. I thought I was asking the question. High Chief. Now, let's go into this issue of measures being taken to get our country violence-free. The measure of amnesty has been brandished a lot of times, especially when they make references to how it worked in the time of Yaradua to Jonathan. Now, they say we can apply it to bandits, we can apply it to even insurgents. Indirectly, various ways they've tried to put up all of this. Do you think it's a measure that is workable? Is this something that will work ultimately, because failures have been reported in some cases and then successes supposedly in some places too? I'd like you to speak to this issue.
Well, let me say that my personal opinion is the fact that the circumstances that led to the South-South amnesty or insurgency at that time are very different from the ones in the Northwest, banditry in the Northwest, and the Boko Haram problems in the Northeast. There is no gainsaying that the people of the South-South at that time believed that we were producing all the oil, and there were ecological problems, there was lack of development in the area, there was no attention being paid to compensate the people. That was their grounds. But in the case of the Northeast, the Boko Haram problem, it's a totally different thing. It is that Western education is forbidden, it's haram. And you have a situation where in actual fact, you have in Kano alone, they say we have over 3 million children out of school because of the way and manner we perceived Western education and Islamic education. It is not actually Islamic education, because in Saudi Arabia, in all the Arab countries, you find indigenous engineers, indigenous doctors, indigenous. It is not limited to recitation of the Quran alone. So people are trained and can. So Islam does not forbid the training or the absorption of research of Western education and what it is. So when you have children that you have thrown out of school because you said all they need to do is to recite the Quran, then definitely you are going to have challenge. I believe, and I pray that whoever becomes the president of Nigeria after this time, we declare a national emergency on education. We will go back to what Awolowo, Azikiwe, and Sardauna did. Education will become compulsory for everybody up to university level. And every child will be supported and must be supported to have that education. I believe that the palliatives for the bandits, for the Boko Haram people in the Northeast cannot be applied to the bandits, arsonists in the Northwest. We also have to take cognizance that in the 3 northern states, the challenges that they have, again, is fueled by external forces. And we must have that clarity of mind.
External forces.
External forces. We must have that clarity of mind and the will to deal with them. You see, I think Nigerians were misled into believing that President Buhari, because he's a former general, will have the courage to deal with
insurgency
in the northern part of the country. But it's because they don't know him closely. Yes. If there's somebody behind, like Tunde Diagbon, like Salijo of PTF, yes, he will perform. It is only in such circumstances he is at his best. So, to practical points, I believe that the nation, everybody, the ordinary people that are suffering right now, if you see the amount of tears, the amount of pains, families are being killed on daily basis in the Northwest by these bandits, by these people. We bloody hell have to do the needful, rout them out totally.
Okay, High Chief, I think, let me take you back a bit. You connected me to my very next question. When you said, when you mentioned external forces, I wasn't very too sure of which of the external forces. Are you referring to ISWAP and the rest of them? But of course, maybe, let me also just take the next question, and maybe you can go back and give us further clarification as far as that is concerned. There is this issue of a corporate conspiracy. That's official conspiracy. That's conspiracy by from people who ordinarily should be part of the solution now becoming complicit in the adversity that we face. There are policemen involved using their offices to cover crime or to perpetrate crime or to be involved with kidnapping, all of that kind of stuff. Even government have been cited a lot. Which are you referring to? Yes.
My late friend, Chief MKO Abiola,
yes,
says that if a fish is rotten, it's from the head. You get it clear?
I heard you.
If you set up a security council that is made up of people from only one part of the country, of people that are of the same religion, who are associated with the ideals of the people that are perpetuating the crime, what result do you hope to get? So, you need a broad solution. You need people who are committed to dealing with the problem. You don't sweep anything underground. The people that are being killed in southern Kaduna, that are being killed in Katsina, that are being killed in Kano, they are Nigerians, which you have an obligation to protect.
That's contradictory, High Chief. When you say that you're selecting people from a particular side of the country whose ideas resonate with even the perpetrators of the crime, and yet you expect...
I'm sorry,
you just mentioned to me now that the victims are people from Katsina, people from Kaduna, the same northern people. So who is suffering?
Yeah, but the bandits, those northwest is where you have the banditry.
So how different is northwest from northeast? They are the same kinds of people. Oh,
no. They are not. They are not. You won't be fair.
Tell me.
The people in the northwest,
yes,
the major issue they have right now,
yes,
is not religious. It is not the issue of banditry. It's the issue of quest for gold. It is the issue for mineral resources as you have them. And the people that are coming, they are not Nigerians. They are outsiders. And which this administration has admitted that they are outsiders.
I get you. I understand. I get you. That. So this is all about resources at the end of the day. That's the end game.
That's the end game.
Struggle for the control of resources.
By one hand, the ones resources in the south, in your implementation of the constitution and the rules that you have, you say it is Commonwealth, and then the ones that you have in the north, it now belongs to only a group of people. So the quest for it.
Now let's look at solution now. Let's come back to us. What are we doing? Chief Raymond Dokpesi personifies media. What is the media doing to help? Do you think we are doing enough by way of reportage? Are we not sometimes sympathetic to certain, because this same sentiment runs through everywhere, it happens everywhere. That's why they say there's no such thing as neutrality. No neutrality. You are either this way or that way. You can cover for some time. If you like, call it diplomacy. But somehow, we're just in one vicious cycle. So I think, but what do you think in your opinion? You are a media owner, so you are media. I'm looking at media now. What is media doing to help?
Well, let me say that the media is doing its very best, but is cowed and subdued. The media, in my opinion, including AIT, Ray Power, they have failed the nation. The days where you had courageous reporters who stood for Nigeria and believed in Nigeria, they defended the ordinary person to the last of them, with the last blood in them.
What has changed? Money.
Money.
The lack of resources to motivate the individual journalists or the
journalists themselves, yes. The journalists that are going out, because in most cases, even the media owners don't see the money. So the journalists themselves that you assign are already will be taken over by those who want to push their agenda, and what you just see on the screen or what you see on the pages of papers are mostly what the actors who now believe that they must have a group of editors, a group of in their class for propaganda purposes. With due respect, my personal view is that this administration will be remembered as that administration that invested most in propaganda, lies, distortions, blackmail, assassination of character of individuals than dealing with the ordinary issues that they have before them. Passbook. To
which you are alleging right now that the journalists, as it is present as it were,
yeah,
have become tools in their hands to use to propagate this propaganda.
Correct.
And why don't you link that to the fact that because the regular journalist is ill-motivated, they do not have insurance, they are not properly paid, they're not paid enough. It cuts across print journalism, electronic, I'm referring to radio and television too, and that's why everything goes down, so they are available. Anything you tell them, it's journalism for sale. Everybody is enjoying this propaganda thing.
Let me tell you that in the days of Segun Oshoba, doing Abiola, Peter Enahuru, and the very Stanley Makebu, there was investigative journalism. And people went to the bottom. It's not journalism of blackmail. I tell you, oh, I got this thing, you have to settle me behind and for me to be able to leave that story, or don't play it down, or take it this way or the other way. They gave it as it was. And they were courageous enough to sit back and look at issues and provide solutions in the best interest of the nation. But today, people, you find you need financial support, you have to bend this way or bend the other way. But I'm saying that not only the organizations, that even the reporters themselves, what you call brown envelope, what you on payroll, on sponsorships and everything. So you see people they know what is right, they know the truth, but they continue to sing praises where there are none, where people need to be told the home truth. We must all join hands to salvage this country. The media, the politicians, the academia, all of us have to get together and salvage this country.
Getting together entails dialogue, which is the next question. How best do we deploy dialogue to cater to the unity that seemed to be working? How do we deploy dialogue to cater to electoral violence? We're approaching 2023 general elections already. You're going to see what happens in the sub-elections that are coming, and as you've been experiencing, there's never been one that's devoid of violence completely, even though that's very difficult to get under even very normal circumstances. But how best can we deploy dialogue to get to that thing we're talking about?
You see, dialogue, we have always dialogued in this country. We have always prepared reports. Tell me the one single one, a report that has been implemented. So people don't have faith anymore. There's no need for dialogue. It's jungle justice. Take to arms, and you establish your case, and then you give conditions and you sort out. But that is not how to manage the country. Dialogue is, there is no war you go to. There is no fight that you have. You must still come back to that round table. When people came to a round table in 2014 and looked at the problems of the country and came up with some sort of recommendations, and one single person just came up, he said, thrash that whole thing. I don't care about it. One single person. The efforts of representatives of the 200 million people.
That's the 2014 dialogue you're referring to.
Before then, it's the same thing. That's why I said I don't want to limit myself to, so I don't sound like only...
Like you're making a case for that particular because you were involved?
No, not that, but that I'm making a case, that I'm criticizing only this administration. All the administrations before then, they had committees, they never implemented that. Even in the party that I belong to, the People's Democratic Party, there were reports for reforms and everything, yet they were not implemented. So, at all stages, that is the weakness of the Nigerian politician and policy makers.
I believe those dialogues try to cater to this issue of entitlement, rotational presidency, and the place of the minority. When I say entitlement, there are certain people that feel it is our rights, we need to be president now. And most times, when these persons are either Yorubas, Hausas, and Igbos, what happens to the Thieves? What happens to the Nupe people? What happens to many other, to the Igalas, to the Baggy man, all of this stuff? What happened? Why is it always so? What kind of entitlement? Where is this coming from? Why should it be so?
Well, let me say, a lot of people don't agree or don't like General Sani Abacha for the reasons that have been raised. But there's no person that is completely bad.
True.
President Abacha, in 1994-95, in his constitutional review, agreed that there be rotational presidency in order to give everybody a sense of belonging.
Everybody,
every geopolitical zone in this country, including the minorities, a sense of belonging. And he said over a 30 years period of the 6 job, let it go round. So the minorities will have a little bit of the power shift, the minorities and from each geopolitical zone. And that is the essence and the reason, the rationale, the reason, the word, for the idea of zoning. Otherwise, how will an Ogbea man, President Jonathan, come and say he's president of Nigeria when you have the Yorubas, the Igbos, this thing? It is part of giving a sense of belonging that even if I don't become the president, you don't become the president, but one of the people that represent our group of minorities has become president. So it is not a matter of sense of belonging. It is true that, yes, people at different times and at different stages, in pursuance of their own personal interests, not the interest of the nation, not the interest of the ordinary man, not the interest. They just want to retain that. They want to get to power because they can muzzle a number of people, and they tell you that no, abandon that rotation and zoning principle, forgetting where the journey started from. You will recall, you are matured enough, that there used to be a cap called power shift, which the Yorubas were wearing. You will recall that there was a time when even in the individual states, there was agitation for creation of states and so on, that this major group was oppressing the other. But the clear lesson we have seen from that is that states, people that used to be brothers and sisters, now see themselves as enemies. Take the case of Bayelsa and Rivers. Take the case of Cross River and Akwa Ibom. Take the case of, well, Delta and Edo, they are still managing. Take the case of Oyo and Osun. It is across the whole country. In the southern part of Nigeria that we can see. In the northern part, it's not different. So what was supposed to unite us, to get us all together, and that one has become a big problem. The cost of running this inefficient system has become humongous out of this thing. Today, we are almost spending every 85 kobo, 90 kobo in servicing for overheads purposes. We can barely get money for capital development. And unless we develop, then we cannot sustain over a long time.
Okay, as we wind down, let me take you to an area you're very, very passionate about, which is technology. I've noticed that, I'm sure you must be upset about this too. The terrorists, the bad guys are deploying technology, using this same telephoning to advance their cause. Why has it been so difficult for us to use technology to put to an end or to reduce drastically the issues of banditry, terrorism, insurgency, and all sorts? You will tell us today to go and register, let everybody have name, register their phones, do all of that, just so when phone calls are made to demand for ransom or that kind of, in no time you would have been traced where this is coming from and all of that. That takes me also to that complicity thing I was telling you about. How angry and how worried are you concerning this issue, this challenge?
I want to just simply say that Nigeria has been very unfortunate to have a leadership that is not exposed, who travel and only travel for their pleasure, not to see what they can bring back to Nigeria. It is very sad. Look, the Ministry of Defense has had, since about the 80s, the late 70s, were being urged to move away from this analog, backward this thing, to embrace technology. Satellite imaging, getting even to monitor anything that flies over Nigeria. Let us be in a position to identify the type. We are celebrating, we bought Tucano airplanes. But Tucano airplanes, they are not fighter jets. They are not. Go and find out. They are training jets. Of those ones that we bought, how many have crashed already? Go and find out. We are misguided. We need to retrain, to readjust, not based on sentiments, not based on ethnic leanings, not based on religious, but what is best for Nigeria. We must get the best of our people, round pegs and round holes, and square pegs in square holes. But for as long as we continue to do This, let us patch. Let us get, for so long, we will continue to go down. That is the challenge. Both in the Navy, in Air Force, in Nigeria Police, there is the possibility for us to embrace technology, encourage our children. I don't believe that we will find salvation with some foreign countries. No. We have to support and develop and get going with what technologies we can acquire now, adapt them very rapidly, encourage and pay what we need to pay. There's no need just wasting the country's resources. We have awarded these contracts, we have awarded those contracts, we have awarded those contracts. We are only interested in the award of the contracts. What about our indigenous capacity to maintain, to build, to replace them?
Finally, High Chief, let's hear your word of advice to young people watching you right now, to whom this program is about. And some of them were getting disillusioned or getting disillusioned. What is your solution as far as violence is concerned and youth?
I will plead and beg all Nigerian youths to shun violence, to shun consumption of drugs and alcohol in excessive quantities. I will plead with every Nigerian not to attempt to run away under the guise of brain drain to other countries. Those countries that you are running to, people made sacrifices to build them. It was not always so. And I want to plead with them to contribute effectively the leadership of this country to come together and ensure that the right things are done here in this country, irrespective of what cost it is going to be. Here you find a lot of people will tell you, why should you enjoy yourself? Why should you cause this thing? You only die once. Die so that you can be properly remembered as one who died for the good of all. Thank you.
Well, High Chief, I think that's a very, very good point to leave it. And I hope that you heed the advice of your bishop friend who told you that you should slow down. And he says that your problem is how to slow down. Please, 70, I think you should slow down. So let me join him in telling you to. Chief, honestly, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'd like to thank you at this point for finding time to oblige us.
Thank you very much. I didn't disobey my homilist, who said I should slow down. Definitely, I just wanted to highlight the fact that there are enormous problems. And I believe that the experience, the courage of the elders, combined with the energy and the dynamism of the younger one, will help to get this country out of where we are today. So we need to continue. We can't just withdraw and sit back. But the young people, be strong. Be ready to take control of your country. Your destiny is in your hands. What to make of it is what will become. God bless you all.
Happy birthday again, High Chief.
Thank you very much.
All right, this has been our show today. My name is Callys Ikpe. Same time next week promises much more if you endeavor to be here. Until then, remember to remain on the road to a violence-free Nigeria. Thank you for watching.
No.